as an argument. Someone who I think is an intelligent person say that there should be a block against using the word groomer. Unbelievable. No, there should be no groomers. How about that? And this is what they wrote. They said, not all teachers are groomers, but a lot of groomers are teachers.
There you go.
And that's real. Constantly, teachers are getting arrested for exposing themselves to children, for masturbating in front of children, for sending nude pictures in front of children. Every couple days there's a new one that pops up in the news. And how many of those people haven't been caught yet? And how many of those people are out there? And how many of those people are doing it under the guise of I'm an LGBTQ educator?
So that's what it is. See, when you surround yourself with people who fearmonger about educators and the LGBTQ community simultaneously, all of a sudden you believe all these little fantasy stories about the prevalence of teachers serving as groomers within the public education system. Because that's exactly what happens. All those powerful teachers, all that good pay, all those benefits they get, they're so powerful. They use their position of power to groom kids. Now, look, I don't know specifically what he's referring to. It's like every couple of days, there's a story of a teacher doing this or that.
Meanwhile, counselor at Tucson High School is out of jail and out of a job after her arrest on charges of having a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old student. 29-year-old Zobella Vinik is charged with 1 count of sexual conduct with a minor. Tucson police say on May 3rd, detectives received a report of an inappropriate relationship between Vinik and that student happening off school property. Detectives found probable cause to arrest Vinik. She turned herself in and resigned from TUSD last week. The district says it is cooperating with the ongoing.
All right, guys, so as you saw there, that was a clip of Anna Kasparian going off on Joe Rogan for, pushing these conspiracies about these teachers that are engaging in inappropriate behavior, right? Some make, classified as grooming. That's what they call it. She said, oh no, why is he going after these teachers? And why is he believing all of these fantasy stories about these teachers and the inappropriate behaviors that they're allegedly engaging in with students? Again, this is the left's Achilles heel, okay? They don't believe their eyes, right? They don't believe their eyes because they don't want to acknowledge the extremism that is within their party. Either that or they agree with a lot of this stuff, okay? Because it seems that Anna, in my opinion, seems to be deflecting from all these incidences of these teachers engaging in sexual misconduct with students, okay? Conduct that I'm starting to believe that people like her support because they refuse to call it out and go as far as to call people who are calling out this behavior as groomers because they don't like the use of the term groomer when obviously that's what's going on here, okay? So with that being said, I want to talk about a story here that kind of highlights exactly what Joe Rogan was talking about and what conservatives have been talking about in regards to what is going on in our schools. And I just want to let you guys know this is not a very YouTube friendly story, okay? So with that being said, if you like my channel, you want to support my channel, you can do so using the links in the description below. You can support the Patreon, you can support the PayPal, you can support the merch. There are multiple ways to support the channel if you would like to do so. Again, that helps me do topics that are not necessarily as YouTube friendly, okay? So that being said, let's talk about it because this story involves a former school counselor accused of having sex with a teen student. And I want to go ahead and play the video from the news report so that you guys get a better understanding of what's going on here because the trend in terms of the things that we're saying here is very disturbing. Take a look.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Sean Mooney. Tucson police have arrested a Tucson high school counselor accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a 15-year-old student. News for Tucson's Priscilla Casper joins us live in studio with the latest. Priscilla.
Zobella Brazil Vinik is charged with 1 count of sexual conduct with a minor. Now, detectives say the investigation began earlier this month. According to the interim complaint, the student had allegedly been living with Vinik and another woman. Detectives conducted interviews and served multiple search warrants in connection with the case. They say those warrants revealed inappropriate messages between Vinik and the student. Tucson Unified School District releasing a statement today reading in part, quote, on Thursday, May 5th, 2022, Ms. Vinik resigned her position from the Tucson Unified School District and is no longer an employee of the district. The Tucson Unified School District administration will continue to cooperate with the Tucson Police Department in its ongoing investigation. Goes on to say our administration will continue to emphasize the health and safety of our students as our highest priority, unquote. Meanwhile, Tucson police are continuing their investigation and ask anyone with information about this case to call 911 or 88 Crime. Reporting in studio, Priscilla Casper, News 4 Tucson.
Yeah, so apparently this teacher had the student, I guess, over at her house, right? According to that news clip, living with her and another female, clapping her cheeks, right? And probably the other female as well, too, that was there. And that is not behavior that I condone, right? Even if it's a 15-year-old boy, this woman is 29 years old. This is not okay, right? And this behavior must be called out because we're seeing it all too often within our schools. However, again, people like, Anna Kasparian, she says that this is a conspiracy. Okay, it's a conspiracy. It's not happening, right? But with that being said, let's actually read a little bit about this, and then I want to show you guys something that you should not be surprised about in regards to this teacher and her activities at school. And by the way, I want you guys to take notice of the little pink strip right here in her hair. Okay, we all know what that probably means in regards to where she's at on the political spectrum and some of the ideologies that she espouses to. But let's read here. A former Arizona high school counselor is accused of having sex with a teen student. KOLD reports Tucson Police Department detectives received a report on May 3rd about an inappropriate relationship between a 29-year-old Zobella Brazil Vinik and a 15-year-old student. Detectives report they conducted interviews and searched electronic devices before arresting Vinik on May 11th. According to the Tucson Unified School District, Vinik resigned on May 5th. Currently, Vinik is not in the Prima County Adult Detention Complex, but authorities said she is facing a charge of sexual conduct with a minor. According to the interim complaint, Vinik's ex-wife called police after finding evidence that Vinik was having a relationship with the minor. The 15-year-old initially told investigators it wasn't true, but reportedly later admitted the romantic relationship started in February. Okay, so Vinik had an ex-wife. So she obviously was bisexual. Okay, I'm just saying. Let's take a look at what she looks like. Okay, strips of dyed hair. Okay, we all know what the stereotypical person that engages in these types of activities, what they look like, how they present themselves. I mean, it's not a coincidence, guys. Come on here. Come on. Police said there was plenty of cell phone evidence that the two were in a relationship. The minor reportedly told investigators the two knew the relationship was bad because of Vinik's age. Yeah, so again, they're engaged in a relationship that both sides knew was wrong. Okay, but again, this is what some of these teachers who espouse some of these sexual ideologies, this is what they're into. Okay, and again, I'm not saying that all teachers are into it. I'm not making no overarching claim or anything like that. I'm just saying this is the type of stuff that we are saying. Okay, and Lives of TikTok did some investigating into this teacher and found something that nobody should be surprised about. And this is exactly what we have been telling people about when it comes to, again, a lot of this stuff that has been pushed on the classrooms and the characteristics of the teachers that are pushing this stuff. As this same guidance counselor is the guidance counselor that set up the first annual drag show for this school. Okay, this counselor, whom is bisexual or whatever, okay, she also is responsible for setting up a drag show and having kids be a part of the drag show, right? I don't think that it's a coincidence that this teacher, right, has a certain ideology, okay, and she is setting up these drag shows. Again, that is a representation of her ideology that she's pushing on these kids in school, and she's engaged in these type of activities, right? Ain't that kind of what Joe Rogan was alluding to, right? Isn't that what he was alluding to? But no. According to Anna Kasparian and the Young Turks, that's a conspiracy. That's a fantasy story. You're making it up. This is not what these teachers are doing. These teachers aren't, participating in these type of behaviors with kids and then trying to hide behind, a certain ideology. Oh, no, that's not happening. You're an extremist. You're a conspiracy theory. You're a religious nut job, according to the left. When that's simply not the case. What actually is happening here is what is happening, right? Is what we're seeing with our own two eyes. There's a lot of teachers out here that are pushing this stuff on kids. And this is why we have an issue with these teachers that want to talk with kids so much about their sexual orientation. It doesn't make sense. Why do you want to talk to them about who you like to sleep with? Like, what reason do you have to do that? That's a fair question. Because any teacher who wants to engage in those conversations with kids obviously has some screws loose, right? The elevator ain't going all the way to the top floor. There's some things we need to check out. Because again, any rational, sane teacher that is there to teach and to make sure these kids learn what they're supposed to learn in school, okay, they're not going to be concerned about that, right? They're not going to be trying to put on drag shows. They're not going to be trying to host clubs based off sexual identity. They're not going to be trying to talk to kids about who they sleep with and, you know, whether or not they like the genitalia they was born with. They're not going to want to talk to kids about stuff like that, right? The only people that want to talk to kids about stuff like that are people that have some issues, right? They got some issues that suggest that they should not be in the classroom around kids, right? I'm just saying. Now, again, I'm not trying to smear all teachers. You know, I have no issues with teachers who are LGBTQ, who keep their sexual identity to themselves, right? If they come to school, they teach, they do what they got to do, right? And they just focus on their job. I have no problems with those teachers. I have no problems with schools hiring those teachers. Because I don't believe in discrimination, right? We shouldn't be discriminating against people based off their sexuality. But the problem is that you have people like this that are making a lot of those teachers that are LGBTQ, that are simply there to do their jobs, they're making them look bad, right? They're making them look like something that they aren't, okay, for the most part. And again, this is why I wish that people in the LGBTQ community would stand up to these teachers and say, hey, you know what? No, you should not be pushing this type of stuff on children. Don't push this type of stuff in school because you're making the rest of the community look bad, right? This is what they should be saying. And I'm pretty sure there are some out there like that, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, you know, you got to be careful to say, hey, I'm not trying to, you know, smear a whole group of people, but let's be honest here. There's a problem because some of these teachers that engage in this type of stuff, they have a certain ideology. Again, that's not to say there's not heterosexual teachers that are engaging in this stuff. That happens as well too. In fact, that's probably the vast majority of these cases involving, you know, misconduct between teachers and kids. But what I'm saying is at the end of the day, ultimately, what's wrong is wrong. And we can't let this stuff creep into school by saying that, oh, it's okay to talk to kids about your sexual orientation and all this other stuff that is just simply inappropriate, right? That's all I'm saying, okay? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.